What is up, guys? From Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to educate you on health, fitness, social well-being. And today, I'm going to be taking you through my secondary bench day on this current mesocycle. You guys saw, day 1, day 2, you saw day 3, which is my secondary squat and deadlift day. This is day 4, secondary bench day. We've got a top single at RPE 8 today, and then 3 back down sets of 6, and then followed by my upper body accessory work. So I'm going to be taking you guys through all of that. It's going to be at the new P.O.D gym location. My first training session there was yesterday. I had a top single on squats, 391 at RPE 7. Three by 6 back down sets with 325 pounds. And then a nice, crispy, light 4 sets of 2 with 375 pounds on deadlift. So yeah, new location is really nice and still nice and compact in the sense of you're still kind of interacting with everybody, but it's just more space, more squat racks, so not having to wait on things as much. So I'm gonna be taking you guys through that, letting you guys check that out. But before we head to the gym, just wanted to have a really quick talk with you guys, kind of more of a social well-being related talk. And I actually talked about this on my story on Instagram earlier today, which if you're not following me on Instagram, you should be. That's where I do a lot of, other content as far as I do more social well-being stuff, answer a lot more questions on there, talk about different fitness related topics on my story, inform the post, all that good stuff. But it occurred to me that I can't be slacking on the social well-being aspect of my channel on here just because I'm doing it on Instagram. So what I briefly want to talk to you guys about was really getting away from this idea of using our excuses as justifications for everything, right? Which is cliche. Everybody already talks about that, right? No one cares about your excuses, but I want to come at it from the standpoint of, guys, life happens, things happen. You're gonna get stressed out by things. You're gonna deal with emotional issues. You're gonna have hardships involving friends, family, maybe you lose a loved one, whatever it may be. Life happens, right? And it's okay to let life happen. It's okay to acknowledge that this stuff is bothering you, that it's messing with you, that's kind of throwing you off. But what I want to emphasize is not staying there. Let's not use explanation as justification. When we look at things that are going on in our lives, look at different issues, things that are keeping us from reaching our goals, we need to look at that to explain what's going on so that we can have an understanding of what's happening, so we can fix it, so we can overcome it. Not so that we stay caught up in this cycle of oh, well, this thing came up and this thing came up, so that's why I am where I'm at. That's such a stagnant way to live, and it's the reason that a lot of people don't reach their goals, whether it's related to fitness or something else. It's it's one thing if you want to lose weight, right? But you don't know how. You don't have the knowledge as far as calories, proper programming, etc. That's okay, because there's people out there that were willing to help you with that. People like myself, my coach Brandon, and others that will give the information out there to help you. But that's very different from the people where you have the knowledge, you have the tools to do what you need to do, but you find any and every excuse to not do it. In my mind, you simply don't want it badly enough. I know that sounds harsh, that sounds cold, but the truth is, if you really want something and you have the resources to do it, you're gonna execute. It doesn't matter, like I said on my story, how good your programming is, how on top of how good your diet may be set up, how great your coach is, and how motivating and encouraging he may be. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect plan set up if you yourself are not executing it. Period. It's so easy to get caught up in your excuses, but it's ultimately you just don't want it badly enough at that time. I think it's important to get to a point where you mentally decide this is something that I really want, and then you step forward in doing what you need to do to reach those goals, whether, like I said, it's fitness related or not. Even if these things, these issues are coming up in life where you say it's just making things so hard, well, okay, you're still going to work, right? Because you have to pay bills. You're probably still making time to hang out with friends and family, probably still watching Netflix, spending all kinds of time on social media. Why? Because you prioritize those things. Either they're a necessity or there's something that's enjoyable enough to you to where you prioritize it. And you simply have to do the same thing with your fitness and with your goals. It's people can help you with nutrition programming, all that, but nobody can force you to do anything at the end of the day. Motivation comes and goes. You guys already know I'm about discipline over motivation, but it goes beyond even just like being disciplined in something, because clearly you're disciplined in some aspects, right? Like I said, you're going to work. Why? Because you feel like you need to do it. Turn your fitness goals into needs. Make them necessities. Treat them as necessities. Quit treating them as optional. If you know you need to lose weight, understand that's your life, that's your health, and make it a necessity. If you know that you have a goal, you're trying to get to a certain level of strength just for yourself, for a meet, make that a necessity. Quit treating the gym like it's just this extra free time for like whatever, and make it a priority. Now, it's one thing if you're just doing things for fun and you're trying to have quote unquote balance or whatever. In my mind, balance is more about giving your all in everything that you do, not just, you know, 50% here, 50% there. I believe balance just means you don't get so caught up in one thing where you slack on other things that are important. But if you want to get good at something, you have to prioritize it to a certain degree. You have to get to the point where you are putting your effort and energy into that thing, and it may take up more of your time. That doesn't mean you're not balanced. It's one thing if it's taking up so much time to where you're ignoring your friends, your family, and everything all together, but balance. But it doesn't have to be balanced where it's like, okay, I spend 50% of my time here, 50% of my time with friends, and you know, you spread it out that way. That's not balance. Balance just means that, hey, if this takes up, if to get this done, it takes up 8 hours out of my day, I'm gonna put my 8 hours towards that. If this only takes 2 hours, I'm gonna put 2 hours towards that. To me, that is balance, giving your all to everything in the best way that you need to accomplish your goals with all those things. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling. I always do that with the social well-being topics, but I just wanted to like really emphasize that, guys. Like, you don't want something badly enough if you're always letting any and every single excuse that can come up take away from what you're supposed to be doing. So buckle in, quit complaining, and start working towards your goals. But anyway, let's go to the gym.
Alright guys, jumping in for a voiceover, taking you through this workout, kind of giving you guys some updates with how I'm feeling leading into this meet, and just let me chat with y'all a little bit. So first of all, guys, you guys see that I'm warming up on bench press. I actually meant to record like my mobility warm-ups for this day. I'll be sure to do that on my next bench day that I show you guys, just because a lot of you have been asking about like kind of how I warm up for that. You guys have seen a lot of my mobility work for like, you know, the squats and deadlift, more my lower body day. But as far as bench press, you know, I came in, warmed up with 135 pounds, then went to 225 pounds, and then from there you guys are going to see that I'm doing a lot of acclimation sets leading up to my my top single, just because it's very useful, guys. Understand that, like, unlike the deadlift where, you know, you're making pretty big jumps and you don't want to like just do a crap load of reps or a crap load of sets leading up to your top set, because that's gonna wear you out, fatigue you. The bench press just doesn't fatigue like that, guys. And acclimation sets have honestly been one of like the best things for me. Pretty much what I do is I'll make fairly decent jumps, like, you know, up until I get to about 275 pounds, which you guys see here. But then from there, I'm only doing like 2.5% jumps of my max, which for me, that's like 2.5% of my max is about like 8 pounds. So I'm making about like, you know, like 10-pound jumps pretty much. And I'm just doing a lot of singles working up to my top single here on the bench press. And it's just so I don't misgroove anything. It's like, I don't want to make such a big jump toward the low feels extremely heavy in my hands, and doing these acclimation sets prevents me from doing that. It lets me just feel better with each and every set, even though I'm going a little bit heavier. Now, it's kind of the same mentality, you know, with the squat, in terms of the fact that you can, like, you know, once you get to a certain percentage, like usually about, you know, anywhere between like 70 to 80% of your max, you want to make smaller jumps. Even on the squat, there'll obviously be bigger jumps than your bench, because 2.5% of your squat max is more than likely going to be more than your bench, unless you're one of those dudes who's benching more than you squat for whatever reason, in which case you got a different problem entirely. But then, like I said, the only exception is like the deadlift, where you can like afford to make bigger jumps just because it's way more taxing. Now, I felt really, really good on this day, guys. Like, just as I was warming up, I was thinking, like, I don't know where my single is going to be. My last single at RP7 was like 315, and that was like an RPE like 7.5. So I was thinking I should be able to get around there, maybe even like 320 for my RP8, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm actually going to let you guys watch that raw right now. Alright, so as you guys can see, 320 pounds moved really well. Like it moved even better than what I was expecting it to. Definitely a true RP8, maybe even a little bit less than that, but I definitely know that I had 2 reps left in the tank for sure. So really excited with how that's moving, guys. And aside from just an ability PR and the fact that I've never moved anything 315 pounds plus that quickly before, the fact that I'm working with loads this heavy when I'm still more than 4 weeks out from my meet is just awesome, because it's only going to get heavier as leading up into my meet. So the fact that I'm able to work with loads like this, and I'm not like, you know, like in the last like 2-3 weeks of prep, is just great. Like, it lets me know that I'm in a really, really good spot right now. And that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of finish this voiceover off with, guys, was talking to you guys about like the fact that I feel great right now as I'm peaking. I've talked about this like a few days ago on my Instagram story, that this idea that peaking is like when you just feel really crappy and beat up, but you know, you're pushing through it for meet day. That's not the way peaking should feel like if you're going about it in an optimal way. Now, it's not to say that you're not going to have some days where you feel more fatigued than others still. Like, for example, my secondary squat and deadlift day never feels as good as my primary squat and deadlift day, just because, you know, you already squatted and deadlifted heavy on the first day. Even though you're going a little bit lighter on the secondary day, you're not going to be as fresh. So it makes sense to, you know, when your program is set up correctly, you're going to have days where you're more fatigued than others. But in terms of your overall fatigue, you should be feeling a lot better when you start the peaking process with each week, because really at this point, the whole point of peaking is to get your level of fitness prepared specifically for what you're doing in terms of your sport. In this case, powerlifting, preparing for those 1 rep maxes. So volume at this point should be gradually being reduced, so the fatigue is going down while you're continuing to maintain and build up intensity so that you're at the best possible position for, you know, hitting those 1 rep maxes at your powerlifting meet. So the only way I can see that you're just feeling completely like garbage during your peaking is if, one, you don't really feel as bad as what you think you do. You're just kind of like complaining for no reason, because it's like if we can see that the weight's moving well, if we see that you're still kind of hitting these mini PRs and that you're like just killing it, and if you feel kind of tired or kind of like I just don't feel great, you're really not as fatigued as what you think you are. You wouldn't be able to move the weight as well as you are. You wouldn't be hitting these little mini PRs. But if you truly are fatigued and truly are beat up and feel like you're like almost hitting a wall when you're peaking, you're probably not peaking right. You're probably doing crazy things like trying to add more volume last minute to like try to build a little bit of extra strength, or doing a bunch of random accessory and variation work, when really all that stuff needs to be diminished. Like I said, there's a time and place for everything, for your variation work, your accessory work, and it's great to like work on that stuff and blast it, especially in your off season. But as you get closer to the meet and you're peaking, your training needs to be more specific towards the meet. Volume needs to start being reduced. Accessory work needs to start being cut back on. And you really shouldn't be doing much, if any, variation work, in the sense that you need to be doing the specific lifts, the actual competition bench, squat, deadlift. And if you're going all about that correctly with your programming and setting things up correctly, then you really shouldn't be feeling that bad, unless maybe like, you know, before you started peaking, you were just blasting so much volume to where you're still kind of recovering from that. But that, once again, comes down more to just proper programming in general. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of, you know, put that out there, guys, to let you know a different point of view. Like, peaking doesn't have to feel crappy. I feel amazing right now. I know that Derek also feels amazing right now, and I'm really just ready to kill it at Summer Power Fest. Like, I'm excited, guys. I'm gonna hit some big numbers. I'm gonna completely destroy my last meet performance. Like, you guys can check that video out, and you guys know that it was like I was not happy with it at all, but definitely looking forward to some big PRs on bench, squat, and deadlift. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you did. If you did not, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I can do to get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch y'all later.